Like my favorite deal of the year that doTERRA does is a free frankincense with 200 PV. Have y'all done it yet? Layla, hi, my girl Layla's here. She's saying yes. Anyone else? Have you gotten your orders in yet? You also get a free, is it balsam fir oil too, and the cute little ornament and my goodness. But yeah, I stocked up like on some of my oils I put in my face blend, blue tansy, rose oil, right? But you guys, this is the month. I love give me a good incentive. I realize this about myself that I'm incentivized by the free gift.
Oh yeah.
Any of my ladies here, did you guys ever back in the day buy like the Clinique product and you bought Clinique product around the time like you would get a free gift? And even though much of that free gift, they're just tiny little samples of things or such, and a lot of it just ended up in a junk drawer, right? But did anyone else live for that freebie?
Well, you know our
Yeah.
story, right? When Natalie went to her first doTERRA class, Jen
Oh,
Kelly was offering a free Terra Shield,
oh. I
which
mean,
is like
who's
a
not motivated by a Terra Shield? Come on.
$12 oil, right? But Natalie
Yeah.
bought the $500 kit because she was like, Andy,
Yes.
I have to drive the order back to Jen tonight because there's a freebie.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, I've got to get this in.
Oh, so funny.
But I do. I love that. And anyway, I just love the orders that were experienced or the December incentives. They're so good. Great time to share also with the people in your network, of course, and it's your customers, even if they're not active builders, but your customers, make sure they're aware that this is happening. Maybe just that personal touch, reach out. Hey guys, this is a great month to put in an order with doTERRA. You get a free frankincense. I mean, that's an amazing value. Frankincense is an oil I use every single day. Anyone else?
Mhm.
Anyone else a daily Frank user?
And I'm a
Every day.
Frankenstick kind of guy.
Ooh,
Frankenstick, I actually love it as just like that's the only lotion I put on my face now is Frankenstick. So
yeah,
it's
I
great.
love it. Haven't tried that yet, but goes on my skin. Sometimes a drop under my tongue will diffuse it. Put it on the back of my neck. It goes. I use the Frank touch and I roll it up and down my spine. Right? It's just like me and Frank are besties.
Yep.
I'd rather not have to ever pick just one oil out of all of them. Like, if you could only have one oil, like to live on the
Yep.
island or any of those kinds of conversations, but it would be Frank.
Yeah, for
It would be
sure.
frankincense. So, you guys, this
New
is the
oils.
month. And I don't know how many, you could clarify this for me probably, but I think even if you hit then like 400 PV, you go a really big order, or 600 PV, you get another free one every 200 PV, correct?
That's my understanding. Maybe somebody else can clarify if
Yeah.
that's yeah, yep. That's what I understood too.
Okay. That's what I was seeing in my back office for at least up to it looked like 800. Maybe it's beyond that, but it's like, gosh, so if you or your sweetheart or whatnot, it's like, let's get in a big order. Let's get a couple of these free. Put them in your stash.
So
But
good.
how exciting. That was fun. I got to briefly meet that couple at your home before
Oh,
we
that's
were
right.
leaving for gathering with some good friends and just some what we call spicies. You guys, we have a text thread called Spicy Friends. Natalie and I, it started out as spicy, Christ-centered friends, and it is that. So it's just we're a little spicy. We're spicy and Christ-centered at the same time. Did you know you could be both, right? But we just had a little gathering. So speaking of that, because this is what I gave all of those gals, is I've come across a new treasure, right? A new
Oh,
treasure, and I'm going to share this with y'all here. Is earlier this summer, someone gifted me a copy of a book. Now, some of you have heard about this book either through the gratitude series or my Thrive community. And I know several of you have ordered this book recently as well. But many of you, this may not be on your radar because it wasn't on mine. Someone gifted me this book late summer and it just kind of stayed on my nightstand for a little while. I was like instantly drawn to it, like, ooh, it's got a vibe, literally like, ooh, I'm drawn to this. I want to read this. But maybe like me, I was in the thick of like two or three other books already, and I try to, finish them. Although, listen, sometimes you just got to go where you're intuitively drawn. But last week, I started reading this book. It's by Robin Sharma, and the book's called The Wealth Money Can't Buy. Have you guys read this book or ordered this book? Again, Audible or physical copy. And this is what we were just talking about at your home on Saturday evening was all the way, well, because it's talking about 8 hidden habits, it says to live your richest life. And he is talking about money and how money is clearly, an influence. And there's nothing wrong. We want money. We desire money. Money makes life have more options. But he's talking about all the ways that we're wealthy and to develop that wealth, right? And I love to think about also in our world here in doTERRA is the word wealth comes from the word wellness.
Hmm.
So when you think about being a wellness advocate or a wealth advocate, it's a water word, right? And you think about water and being at the ocean, how much water there is. It's like there's an abundance. But tapping into your wellness and your wealth. Friends, I'm loving this book already. I haven't read the whole thing. It's a biggie, right? But from what I've read so far, it's just principle based and really helping you come into. And what I'm a big believer in and have seen play out in my own life again and again is that when I'm dialed into the vibration of wealth in the other areas, like your personal growth, your craft, your relationships, these various ways that you're wealthy already, it helps you put yourself into a higher vibration, if you want to call it that, right? Or frequency or alignment. I think it does make you more magnetic to then make sales, tangible sales too, as well in your business. So if you want to get a copy of that for yourself, a little self Christmas gift, I'm a big believer in that too. It's like, hey, one for you, one for me, right? In my Christmas shopping, it's like, oh, yes, that, this, that. But
Mhm.
anyway, that's a new treasure I've just come across recently and started reading, and I'm really loving it. And I just want to share it with you guys because I don't know,
Mm.
we like to share those personal growth type things, and that's what I'm reading right now myself.
That looks yummy. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, well, it's on your wife's nightstand. You can borrow hers if you want to.
Awesome. So good.
Yes, so good. So
Ah,
many gems. So, how is everyone? How was November?
mm,
How are we feeling the 1st of December? My November was phenomenal. We had a great
mm.
gratitude series. I'm just curious, how many of you participated in that, whether live or caught the recordings? Oh my gosh, Andy, we had like a couple of these, every session had its own heartbeat, was so good, but there was a few in there that I thought, man, we are gonna like my computer's on fire. It was so good, but I just love that. And so my gratitude's feeling really high. And then we hosted my family for a Thanksgiving gathering, and that is, oh my gosh, it's a lot of work. And it's so much fun. It's just right, like when you're hosting and the cleaning, the decorating, the foods, of course, other people pitched in, and then we had a full Thanksgiving with Brett's family too. And I don't want to brag, but I'm gonna. The night before Thanksgiving, we had a family bowling night. And I know I may not look like the type. I may not look like the persona, but you guys, guess who won family bowling night? Again, second year in a row. Just saying.
What?
Just saying.
Man, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect.
Listen, it's hard to be humble, like you just rock it at the bowling. So anyway, some fun
That's funny.
things and decorated. You guys, this is also the first year that I have ever put up a Christmas tree before Thanksgiving here in the US. And I did. And I'm not even one bit guilty about it.
No shame.
I
You know
went
how
out.
long ours has been up.
Yours has been up for a while too.
Yep.
Listen,
About a month.
everyone do you. It's just like, no, I'm ready for that to go up and to have a little more joy. Also, you know, there was a dynamic too where Thanksgiving was late in the calendar this year, and it's just like, let's get that baby up. So, but anyway, tell us, how are you guys doing? How is November? How's December? How can we best love on you and support you? It's also been quite a lot this year. I mean, this year and the last month, a lot of emotions, a lot of energy, a lot of things your people are navigating, and my goodness, but how can we best serve and support you here today? If you have questions, start populating those in the chat box, and or if you want to come on live, we'd love to see you. Would love to have you. I've got a warm little cup of tea and of course, a nutcracker mug because it is the
Oh,
holidays. Isn't that so cute?
I love it.
My mom and I go to the Nutcracker every single December, and so it's just like, aw. Cute
So
little
great.
things. I mean, this is like summer tiff in Christmas plaid, guys, is what happens the month of December for me. If you've been here long enough, you know what summer tiff means, where it just it's joy, it's playful, it's fun. But absolutely, it's just like Christmas bedding. Okay, I'm just outing myself. I'm the type of person that also I just put my Christmas bedding on my bed last night. Are we judging me? Like I even have a
Yeah,
stuffed little gingerbread man that goes on with the throw pillows on top of the plaid duvet, guys.
there's no judgment here.
Anyway, you do you, everyone. And you, some of you might be like, no way, no how would I ever put that on my bed? And you got to do that, right? You got to do what's right for you. But one of the things that I am also thinking about as we come into this session is I've been in thoughtfulness for myself and with my own community and in with clients, just my own reflection, right? It's a great time of reflection as well as setting those intentions. And what do you want to create more of or feel more of the month of December? Those are questions. Will you write those down for me and just start? If you have some initial thoughts come up, but take some time to get clear. What do you want to create more of? What do you want to feel more of? What do you want to experience the month of December? What do you want to drop into with that for yourself? And to just take into what I love about intentions is to me, they're like a little lighthouse where things won't go perfect to plan for any of us. That's not real. But having really clear intentions are like a lighthouse that just continue to guide you. And like, this is what I want to feel more of this month. This is what I want to create for myself, my family, my home, my health. What do I want to be working on this month? As we think about, the wrap up of a beautiful year and the beginning of a new one. And I think that's something that's worth dropping into and looking at for yourself. But I had this thought on Sunday as we turned the calendar to December 1st and I was preparing for a live session. I thought, you know how like little kids, I'm going to date myself here, but did any of you guys have like the Toys R Us catalog or the J.C.
Oh
Penney
yeah.
or Sears even?
Sears.
Sears,
Sears
if you want
was
to go way
the
back.
soccer. That was a
The
big commitment.
catalog,
Yep.
right? Did any of you guys have that? And what did you used to do as a kid? Did any of you actually write out a Christmas wish list for your
Heck yeah.
parents, or you'd circle things or tab them, in the catalogs? Anyone else do that as a kid? If you're here live, would you say so in the chat box or in the comments if that's you? And again, if you're young, you're like, wait, what's Sears? Sears is not, what is that? You're probably at least, no matter your age, know Toys R Us, right? But those catalogs, well, the same thing as adults. I love, coming home into that energy of childlike wonder, right? Like the concept or the teaching, become like a little child. I love that in the Bible where it's like, But it's your own adult wish list, thinking about what do I want to feel more of in December? What brings me joy? What magnifies my joy? Right? What do I want to create or experience both physically, my health and wellness, my home, my relationships, in my business? What I do love about November and December, even though that they're more full and busy and people can be, quote, busy, they are great months for connection, for gatherings, for reach outs. Hey, I was thinking of you. Hey, this is happening, make and takes, DIYs, things like that. I just think this is one of those times where it is a great time to again nourish your business too. So just thoughts to be thinking though, is December, we're just barely starting this month, is taking some time to pause and answer the questions. What do I want to feel more of? What do I want to create? What do I want to experience both in my home, again, relationships, your business, financially, your health, wellness, your joy list, the things that bring you or feed you or nourish you, being intentional to create, in essence, kind of like your own wish list, and then dropping into creating off that. Mm, so good. It's so nice to be back
Oh, so good.
with you guys.
And Layla put in the comments, I'm celebrating a new rank of premier.
Yay,
Yep,
Layla.
I'm feeling more alive and confident and seeing the
My
seeds of
heck.
efforts begin to sprout. Isn't that
Good.
fun?
I love that for you, sis. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I
So
love it. All right, what are we creating? I love it. Some people do know about, these catalogs.
great.
We have Amazon now, right? Is what's being said, but a little different when it's online and digital. You do have those, but yeah. some of the quote good old days. It's interesting. I can't believe I just said that phrase. I sound like my dad, the good old days. But how can we support you today? What's up for you? And if you're in a funk, let's help you work through it. No need to stay there. If you want support with growth of your business, you want growth focus of working through something, whatever might be up for you, how can we best support you today? I'd love to see your face personally if you feel like coming on live, but even if not, but we're here to support you.
Ooh, great question, Joel. So I think I just saw a printout of the 2025 strategic planner yesterday. So we'll probably do a couple of just last tweaks on that to make sure it's all accurate and everything is current. And then we'll get that uploaded. So good reminder. Thank you, Joel. And we are going to the Blue Presidential Summit next week. And I'm excited to have lots of great updates. Comp plan upgrades are going to be the main topic there. Super excited about that. Natalie and I have had, I can't even count the number of meetings there. But yeah, we just met with Michael Sterling, Isaac Watson, Isaac, why can't I think of Isaac's last name? Anyways, we're super excited about everything that's coming. So,
I
including
love that. Where's your retreat at?
it's down in Arizona.
Oh, nice and warm and cozy.
Yes. Yep. It's in a different area. I can't remember the exact area, but it's not like in Phoenix. It's kind of out in a secluded area. So I'm excited.
Mm.
Trying
And
to
when are you leaving for that?
So I believe we'll leave Monday and get back Thursday.
Okay. Can
So
I cover this call for you next week? Would that be all right?
that would be amazing.
Would that be okay, you guys, if I joined you again next week and we do some coaching together?
We would be so grateful. Thank you so much.
I'd love it. So if you'll let me, if I can hang out with the cool kids next week,
Oh, for sure.
while you
You're
guys are hanging out in Scottsdale.
always welcome.
Okay, I love it. One of the questions a little bit earlier, Lauren said, question, do you believe in keeping your intentions to yourself or telling the world?
Hmm.
And I love this. And there's research slash, quotes that go both ways on this. So part of that, I'm curious, Andy, to your thoughts. Ultimately, Lauren, I'll say trust your own intuition, right? Do you have your own read on this? But Andy, what's your thoughts to that? Like when your own goals and intentions and things you're working on, do you want to share them with other people and loud and proud, or do you want to keep them close to the heart?
Well, I've seen opinions both ways, like you were saying. I actually saw an article that said setting goals and vision boards are the worst thing you can do because sometimes the imagination can't tell the difference between reality and the imagined world. And so once you state a goal and declare your vision, then your mind thinks you've checked it off the list. And so they say, don't do that. I'm personally of the opinion that we can create whatever we choose. And, intention, I know for me, the leaders that I've seen create powerfully and lead with great vision, their vision's too big not to share. Like their intention is too strong to just, like let's look at Elon Musk. Do you think that he could have been stopped by just saying, I have on my vision board to build the biggest electric car company on the planet, and just because it's on his vision board, that would be enough for him? Absolutely not, right? I'm going to completely revamp the space industry. Yeah, putting that on his goal list, just not even close to cutting it, right? So I'm of the opinion that it's worth sharing. I believe that there's added accountability that comes when we share our goals, especially when it's with an accountability partner.
Mm-hmm.
So whether that's your upline mentor or crossline, I found that crossline mentors are usually the most powerful. Like just declaring, this is where I'm going, hold my feet to the fire, and I'll do the same for you. Like it's just
Mhm.
there's magic that happens when we declare goals, when we, hold that vision for each other. I've even heard of this concept of double vision boards, where if you're mentoring someone and they have a goal, once they
Mm.
tell you your goal, you put it on your vision board as their mentor. And so
Mhm.
now there's like this mutual holding space for what's being created. So those are my thoughts, but I'd love to hear yours.
Mhm. Well, I think exactly what you said is I think I love sharing the things that you desire with people that you trust, right? Or that you're saying like an accountability partner, a mentor, an upline, dear close friends, things like that. I do think there's power in having other quote witnesses or other folks that help support you, champion you, and help you get there. And I also think sometimes dreams, it depends what it is, right? And it depends, that's where for me there's a little discernment where there might be a handful of things that I don't share necessarily publicly or that I'm working on or that are near and dear to my own heart just because they might be between me and God, right? That it's just a really intimate thing or something that's more personal. But I don't think there's quote a right or wrong way, like, oh, my goals won't succeed if I don't or I do. It's just being mindful that it depends what it is for me has discernment. And because again, sometimes you might share your dream with someone who's a squasher or an energy vampire, and then you kind of get that energy like, oh, versus if they're my people though, like your accountability partner or my mastermind or close friends, things like that, then I feel really comfortable sharing pretty much any of my goals or dreams with them. So I would just say, again, I don't think there's a right or wrong way. There's people that quote it both ways, but there is value in having accountability in your life. So I will
Yeah.
say that 100%. If someone else that is going
Mhm.
to be asking you about it or that you're following up with, that you have that kind of support, because otherwise it's easy for it to just hang out on the shelf and be like, well, when it's comfortable, when it's perfect, then we'll take the action.
Yeah. So somebody asked a related question in the Q&A. They said, how do you even get a vision and a dream that big? And I
Mhm.
assume she's referencing Elon Musk, right? Like he is literally making the human race an interplanetary species, like literally, single-handedly. NASA's been at it with
Mhm.
thousands of employees for decades, and Elon's like, no, this is how we're going to do it, and he's doing it. Like it's so crazy. So I would just say, start small. I would say be kind, um, be patient, and think about a child. Let's say your child comes up to you and says, "I want to be an astronaut when I grow up." You know, what parent would say, "Oh, that's not going to happen." Just put those dreams to rest because that's not realistic. I mean, I still have kids who are shooting for the NBA, and guess what I do with that? We cheer for them, we support them. And so do the same thing with yourself. Like give yourself just so much grace, give yourself the gift of letting that child dream again. And I truly believe that's what it is. I believe that we were born with the innate ability to dream big and have vision, and life just kind of gradually sucks that out of us. And
Mhm.
so I would just say hold space for yourself like you would your own child.
Hmm.
And
Well, yeah, it's like get out that Sears catalog,
yeah.
right? It's like dream big in that way. But to your point, it's like it does take courage to let yourself dream. Because you know what? Why we don't do that as adults is we have emotional scar tissue.
Mhm.
When we're not dreaming, when we're not visioning, when we're just kind of like, well, this is enough and this is good enough. And some of that is because it's like we're learning to be content, but you can have gratitude and desire in the same space. That's very spiritually grounded is desire with gratitude. But sometimes, we've been through like Andy was saying, like we've been through some stuff. We've
Yeah.
been through some heartache. And there's part of you that says, well, I don't want to disappoint myself.
Mhm.
And therefore, I'm not going to really dream big and think bigger and go for it because I don't want to feel the potential disappointment that I may have felt in the past. Because every one of us at this point, if you're 30 and up, And even if you're younger than that, you've still experienced this. But you've experienced like going for something or having something not work out or not the way that you thought or that you desired. And then it's like, oh man. And so we have sometimes some emotional scar tissue. But really, that's why it requires courage, but also just the permission to be like, let yourselves even dream and entertain. What would I love? What would life look like? What would happen? Who would I be? What would be taking place in my life? And what are the feelings that I'm after? And what are the actions or the achievements or the desires of my heart? Like, what are the things that if I really let myself dream, then I would go for it. But a lot of it's just even permission to go there initially, right? It's
Mhm.
allowing it. It's because whoever asked that question, I saw that in the Q&A box anonymously came in. It's like there's likely some emotional scar tissue. Is at one point in your life, it may be going back many years to being a young kid, you did know how to dream. We knew how to make believe and play up, make up all kinds of things, you know? And so just being willing, there's some courage there, but it's like, I'm going to let myself dream. And here's the thing, loves, is that I really do believe in the thought, not just as a cute little quote to put out there, but I do believe that all of us, you can handle failure. You know, what's really hard to swallow is regret, right? If you go for things and dreams and goals and you don't quite achieve them or not maybe in the time frame that you want or they don't happen necessarily the way that you thought, I get that. But it's like, gosh, I learned so much and that learning is valuable and these insights. Regret is much more harder to, I think, make peace with is what it woulda, coulda, shoulda, what if I would have, who could I have been, what could have happened in my life or for my family, right? The willingness to try and to put yourself out there. And let me just remind us, just a quick thing, if we're thinking about that already, right? Vision and then goals, is I invite us to be effort based in our goal setting. So have big vision, dream the big dreams, but as you're thinking about goals and habits, is think about things that are, effort based. So it's like how many people we contact on a daily basis, how many classes we hold in a month, gatherings, things like that, ways that we're showing up that we want to focus on our efforts versus an outcome, right? Some of you, it's like if you only focus the number on a scale, you're probably going to shoot yourself in the foot. Versus I move my body every day, I drink X amount of water, I take my supplements, I, get on a walk or these types of things. Like you focus or measure your success based on your efforts. Now, again, we're talking into a goal setting strategy is having effort-based goals or habit-based goals. We focus on that, but have the big vision. Yes, it's like Jeff, my vision is to lead a diamond team. I love that. Own it. And then you focus on goals like how many people do I connect with on a weekly basis, daily basis, classes I'm hosting and team gatherings, things like that, that help you nurture the growth of a business. But anyway, I love that this got asked because all of you know how to dream. Some of you, it's a dormant muscle because you haven't used it in a long time. And often you probably have a guard called fear standing at that door that says, ooh, I don't want to dream big. I don't want to feel disappointed. I don't want to feel bad about myself. And if we can just neutralize it more and it's like, oh, what fun. I'm a human. I'm trying new things. I'm learning new things. I'm growing versus all too often, not, I mean, we could get into like 3 hours worth of this depth and the mindset and the psychology of this, but often we make that mean things about ourselves. Well, I set a goal, it didn't happen. I must suck is the short stick. And there you're like, I don't want to feel that way. I don't want to feel more bad about myself. I already do that enough. And so I want to protect. It's what your brain thinks they're doing is I'm protecting you from feeling bad about yourself. I'm protecting you from potential loss or disappointment. We'll just play it safe, real lukewarm and comfortable versus no, I'm going to stretch and grow. Well, stretch and grow requires you to be outside of what's familiar to you and to face some of these things. Anyway, does that resonate with any of you today? Is there some resonance here?
Truth. Like Layla says, man, that's a truth bomb right there.
Yeah.
Love it. Emotional scar tissue.
Yes. And it is, it's emotional scar tissue. And a lot of times, again, we call it your comfort zone. And you go, oh, yeah, yeah. But realize that your literal subconscious brain is like, oh, I don't want to risk. I
Mhm.
like things safe and comfy where your spirit, your soul, your higher self is saying, I'm meant to grow. And you see, so it's like we have this human side and this spiritual side regularly going, hey, and it's
Mhm.
part of, our blooming and growth process.
I think it's worthwhile too to hang out with dreamers,
Oh, amen.
right? Hang out
Yes.
with possibility people. That's what I love about doTERRA's owners and all the executives. They're just, they're thinking so big, and leaders too. Anyways, doTERRA's my family. They're possibility people.
Yeah. I love it. Well, keep hanging out here. Come here every Wednesday
Ah,
because there's so much goodness that happens here. It's one of the ways you put yourself in a positive environment, right? There's three key things that influence your success heavily: your mindset, your habits, and your environments. And so
mhm.
the more that you choose into, I'm going to put myself in environments, and environments can be classes like this, courses, people that you hang out with, spend time with, mastermind with, go to live events with.
Yeah,
For me, often it's like spending time, like yesterday, Joe Dispenza and I went on a morning walk.
love it.
He didn't know that, but I was
Love
on
that
YouTube
show.
listening to him. And it's like, your podcasts, your books, and things like that, where you can place yourself regularly in spaces and with content
Yeah.
that are going to support that. So, so powerful.
Okay, I think we've got Dr. Daryl on with us. So if you want to unmute,
Okay.
if you're still listening, we'd love to hear from you.
Yes. Hey, thanks. Hey, Andy, Tiffany, how are you guys doing?
Hi,
Great.
friend. Good to see
Welcome.
you.
Hey, good to see you. Hey, would it be okay if I just share a point that I just felt compelled to share about this discussion that I think is an important
Sure.
thing? Something I've learned from my own, creation journey as well as my training as a success coach too, is I think I'm a big dreamer, as you guys know, and I'm also a big supporter of vision boards and things. So I think all of this is really powerful. I just felt there's a caution we need to kind of have with this, which is when we're dreaming big, that we need to use the dream in a way that inspires us to move forward into action. But sometimes what happens with people that dream is they get emotionally attached to it in a way, and Tiffany, know you've seen this probably tons of times, where their happiness is attached to that dream happening. And if we're not careful sometimes with our dreams, like, why isn't my dream happening? And then you actually lose motivation, you lose happiness, you get frustrated. So I just wanted to thought that I've been in that place many times myself, that we need to use our dream in a way that inspires us, that gets us excited about creating. But sometimes our brain can use it the opposite way, and we get attached to things that aren't happening. And we call fantastical, get into this dream and think it's reality when it really isn't. We've got to create it. And if we're not in the creation mode, sometimes we'll get frustrated. So I just felt like that's an important thing for people to think about, because I've been in that mode myself. I have to keep regulating my mindset to stay in creation and not, be frustrated if things aren't happening in the timing that I want. So that's just what I want to say.
Thank you for that. And that's why, again, it's like why I love being more focused on habits and like what are the habits I want to be cultivating because I can control that and or directly influence it. Where, and so you also have happiness habits, right? So when you think of it that way, it's like what leads to your own happiness. And then, yes, having these dreams and these goals, but realizing it's like there's also a process. One of the things my mentor taught me was at the end of my goals and in my visioning is adding the sentence, the statement, this or something better. And that way it kept me open to that it may be this, or it may be that God life has something better in store.
Mhm.
And it kept me open in a surrendered open space, adding that line at the end of a lot of my goals, this or something better, knowing that life is delivering great things for us always, right? And I think that's having a foundational belief. Is life working for me or against me? And the cool thing about beliefs, guys, is we get to choose them. Even though like we adopt them and we absorb them, we also come to a place of awareness where we can choose them. But thank you for adding that because there is this balance of like work for those things and you're all in, you're committed and you're desiring them, and also realizing my self-worth or my happiness doesn't have to be so cold, so commingled there.
Mm-hmm. Love, I think, Andy, you've said this before, where it's intention without attachment. we're kind of
Oh, yeah.
open to it happening. I think that's a real powerful phrase.
It's a life skill. Absolutely. Yeah. If you can learn to have massive intention, but to truly be unattached to the form, the content, the actual timing, who it's with, like just intention. So it's a powerful principle. Thank you for sharing your
Thank you
thoughts.
for letting me pop on for that.
Oh, thank you. Great to see you.
Yeah, I love it. Jessica's asking if she wants to come on camera to talk through her dream plan. I'm great. I'm
Yeah.
open to that. She wants to come
Yeah.
on.
So I've tried to promote you to a panelist, Jessica. So if you'll just accept that, then that should work.
We also have a question from Julie up above too. I want to stay in this dream talk for a minute, well, if that's where she wants to go next. But Julie has a question about engaging people at vendor booths that I think is a great conversation to have too.
Yeah, I think focusing the message on what's in it for them. So you might have a million solutions for a million different things, but the fact is people are like looking at 100 different booths. And so you got to think, what's in it for them. Giveaways, drawings work great. And so just having a really short form that's like, hey, contact information, but then also what's your top health concern? Would you be open to sharing if you got some free stuff? Just a questionnaire like that, I've found is the game changer at a booth, because then you're capturing lots of contact info. You can do the follow-up. So there's my vendor booth spiel in 60 seconds. Okay, it looks like we've got Jessica on with us. Welcome.
Hi,
Where are you calling from?
I'm in Orem, Utah, and
Awesome.
thank you. Sorry, you sent that panelist thing, and I'm like, what is this big box? I can't see what's going on. So I just rid of it.
No worries.
I
Yeah,
apologize.
you're totally great.
I'm so appreciative of you both. I was in the mission with Natalie, so I was actually at your wedding reception, Andy,
Oh my
um,
goodness.
and a million years ago. And so I was in the MTC with Justin Lee.
Oh, wow.
He and his brother Jeremy were both in my MTC district, and so I'm good friends with Justin and Tana
How cool.
as well. And so it was Tana that kind of got me into doTERRA when I moved back into the country a couple years ago. Some big health issues and some breweries, and I've been in and out of the country a lot since, but I have felt that I need to be here for like the next 12 months exactly and to make that commitment. So I'm looking to invest in Utah and just getting back to doTERRA and thinking of, it's December and frankincense. So
I love
I'm
it.
exactly in that line, Tiff. And Tiff, I share your content widely all the time. I'm so appreciative of everything that you brought into the world. And I actually have this idea that came because I was watching your gratitude series. I only got to catch the end of the live broadcast with Coot Blackson, but I don't know, just something shifted in my head so big, and I just had this kind of pummeling idea of like, you need to go create a mental health.
Oh, I think we lost her.
I think so too.
Oh, she has the best connection.
Oh, she just bounced back.
Sorry, all of a sudden everything dropped out. I apologize.
There we go.
So I
Had this awareness.
was a 20 something, and as a young mother I saw that there was a need for, in Utah County where I live, there was the caucus system was being used in a way that kind of made it so that not everybody got to have their voice expressed in the campaign at the time. And there's been a lot of different reforms since then, but that I think are a little bit better and makes it a little bit wider for everyone. But because of that of finding that out, my former spouse and I got involved in we just kind of jumped in, and we ended up being in charge, just creating and being in charge of this huge series of events for the next 6 or 7 years until I finally could convince candidates that they needed to invest in this idea of this thing called YouTube. So I'm dating myself pretty well. That they could give speeches and people could see their positions by videoing, because back then they would just knock door to door, and
Now,
it
Jessica,
wasn't a very effective system.
just to clarify, is this part of the dream plan you want to talk about? If not, let's go there. Like,
So
what's the dream plan that we can help you with?
So the idea, there's two pieces, and one is to kind of help me get my moxie back, because I'm in where I used to do this huge organizing. And it was to a point where we had hundreds of people, and I just step up on the stage and I could MC on the fly, and we did all these debates and forums, and CNN covered our stuff, um and it was all, but I've just had a series of unfortunate events for at least a couple decades now, and I just feel like I'm kind of Alice in Wonderland who's lost her muchness. And whereas before I felt like I could do, 6 incredible things before breakfast, and or impossible things, as it were.
Yeah.
But and
Yeah. Oh, are you there, Jessica?
yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I keep
Okay.
getting kicked out.
Yeah, I don't think you have, I think your connection keeps kicking you off. So is that what you would like support with today, is how to get your moxie back? Or is there
Yes,
a dream plan? Is that the,
that's it. It's this event, and just hoping that I can help myself dare again, because I can see how if you jump in, but putting myself out there in that scale on a short-term basis, where you'd really have to hustle for something in the new year, because it really felt like something in the new year was what was needed. I know that there's a lot of people that feel differently about how things turned out with the election. There's a lot of emotion out there, like you said, but the concept is this come together. um just anything that can be inspired by a good Beatles song, I think, works out. But this idea of we need to remember that we're neighbors, and that we're friends, and that we need to have dialogue, and we need to also remember that people's mental health and wellness can be impacted by everything that we see all over. And so I had just envisioned this kind of a big event that focused on leaving partisanship and isms and schisms at the door, and just coming in to learn about what resources are available in a community, to help support one another, and to just really focus on the gratitude, to really focus on tools that can help us get through grieving when we need it, even whether it's political, whether it's familial, whether it's our own belief systems, and we're struggling in a faith crisis, or there's all kinds of very emotional private tragedies that are happening for people. And I just felt the power of that message from Coot and you, and I've really experienced gratitude making such a difference in life, and just wanting to help give a forum where people could start the new year with some intention.
mm-hmm. So yeah, so I hear a couple of things in that share, and it is absolutely is create that gathering, and whether it's online or in person, where you help nourish others. It sounds like you're wanting to do some of that, where you give them skills and tools of how they're navigating that. Yet coming back to your own question for yourself, and I appreciate the real and the real talk, because we all relate to that. And meaning that, life has gone, there's beautiful things, and then there's been things that have hurt or knocked us down, and we've gone through those things, and how you get your energy back. A lot of that, similar to what Dr. Darrell was talking about, is what you're making it mean about yourself, right? And what we often, again, that our outcomes and our worth are not the same. It's like you're always worthy. You're always, and it's like, gosh, there's this mission, there's this purpose on your heart and on your life. And yet, where we sometimes discourage ourselves is if it doesn't look a certain way or have a certain number of likes or a certain number on a bank account or or again on a number on a scale, we can often get really discouraged by that. And sometimes life does deal us things like this year. I shared this in the gratitude series where, I've had some losses this year, some heartfelt big losses that, man, I'm grateful for all the mindset tools and all of those things, but ultimately what we all need is more God. I'll just say it directly. And however you all presence to that, I respect that. It's not like, hey, my way's the only way to God. I don't believe in teaching that to people. But I know that the foundation of where you get ultimate peace and guidance and clarity and peace is through your higher power. And so I'm grateful for all the tools and things, and I want you to, if you feel drawn to that. But I just share that from a place of, I relate to what you're saying, that sometimes we just get knocked down. And sometimes we do feel those things. Yet in the same breath, where we do have choice and we do have influences, life is going to ebb and flow. Life is going to have beautiful things and hard things for all of us. That's part of this beautiful, messy life. It's just knowing it's like what grounds you, what anchors you. And often where we're creating our own suffering is we're making our worth be attached to outside people or circumstances. And your worth and or your happiness is not outside of you. Now, there are outside things that influence us for sure. It's like, oh, like being in thriving, great friendships and sweetheart and relationships and family and purpose and things that really, other people. But where a lot of our own suffering comes from is that it's like, I need so and so to behave a certain way to make me feel good enough about myself. If my sister-in-law or my mother-in-law or my this person or that person, or I would just get invited here, or I just had X amount of Instagram followers or likes, or if I was just a size 6, man, I'd be happy as a clam. If I just made another $1 million, then I would be. And while those things, yes, I'm not saying they can't influence us, that truly it's like your happiness, right, is an inside job. And your worth is also already intact, but how you're nourishing that. And so I have huge empathy for when you say something like that, like, gosh, life's knocked me down. I get you, sister. I've had some of those knockdowns too. And in the same breath, there are openings to come back to my spiritual roots again and again, which is who am I really? Whose am I? Because I know who I am. And I know whose I am. For me, in my own spiritual path, that helps ground me, right? And so thank you for the sharing, because it's not that there's this textbook answer for you, but it's asking yourself what grounds me, what nourishes me, right? And that purpose and that vision, and to create what it is that you desire. And also, I would say this to you though, realize that, the business of trying to change people's beliefs is not an easy one. And so but you can bring people home to gratitude, faith, courage, vision, hope. Those are principles that are universal. But you know what? One thing I've learned, and this may not be the most positive thing, is some people, they don't want to change out of their miserable state.
Yeah.
And sometimes our lesson is acceptance, is some people, they want to just be miserable. And that's the gift of agency. And I get to let them choose that ultimately, as I'm going to, you love and you invite and love and invite. But ultimately, we all are given that ability to choose that. So that's a whole other layer of a conversation. But if you feel drawn to creating a group like that, you feel drawn to creating space, I'll honor that, because I feel like our dreams and our desires, they often, like was shared in the gratitude series, they come from a higher dimension. So anyway, Andy, anything you want to add to this, and how do you help get your moxie back if you feel like you've lost it?
Oh,
What's helped
boy.
you over the years? Because you and I are
Yeah.
good friends, and so we know one another, some of our highs and lows and ups and downs, and it's like you've been there too.
Sure. This is such a rich question. And thank you for your openness and coming on and sharing, Jessica.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks, Tiff.
I would just say, clearly there's an event or a series of events that made you believe something new, right? So in your case, it sounds like the belief used to be, I have something worth sharing. I have a message worth listening to. I'm worth following. And then at some point, it feels like you flip that switch and started believing I don't have anything worth sharing, or people don't feel like it's worth listening to me or coming to my events. So I love what Tiffany talks about, you know, like when we move our focus away from our vision and onto the popularity polls, then that just becomes a pathway to misery. Like really, it's like what does the world think of me instead of what's the mission that I'm on? And so I love how Tiffany invites us to
Okay,
just
no, say it again, Andy. Say it again, you guys, because there's your like $1 million mic moment in this session.
I honestly can't remember how I said it. It was like don't go into the popularity game. Stay in the vision game. Like stay in the purpose game,
And the
because
purpose.
yeah, and Tiffany shares this so powerfully about just coming back to like where is your vision, and you get to be the one who believes more powerfully, more firmly, and hold that space than anyone, because no one ever will. You know, if Elon tried to outsource his vision casting, the person who holds that space, it would never work. And so you get to be the CEO of your vision, and just be relentless. Like you can't let anyone knock that down. I love that scene from The Pursuit of Happiness when Will Smith is playing basketball with his boy, and the boy's like, someday I'm going to be in the NBA. And he's like, yeah, probably not. And then he realizes, you know, the kid gets really frustrated and doesn't want to play anymore. And the dad says, you know what? Don't listen to anyone, not even me, who tries to tear down your dream. You want something? Go for it. And it's true. It's the power principle of being your own biggest cheerleader, and not letting anyone knock you off of your path, your purpose, and your vision.
So true.
Sorry, I'm so quiet because I'm just taking furious notes, and that's why I keep looking away. So sorry.
You're totally
But
great.
that was great. I think, Candy, you hit on it. That's what I used to do. I used to not let anything get in my head besides, well, I feel called to this. I feel like this is the thing I need to do. So obviously, whatever happens, it will be good. So even if it's not great, and there were plenty of not great moments as I went through that 6-7 year journey, because I didn't realize what I was getting into when I started the process. But I know that I made a difference, and it was big, and I didn't let anything stand in the way. You know, I was a nursing mother, and I just took kids with me, and we did all this stuff. And I know that this made a difference with how my kids turned out as citizens and how they turn out as young adults. And it was a great thing. And
Yeah.
I didn't let all the trauma or whatever else of my past like crowd in. I hadn't experienced as much of it back then. So, you know, ignorance is bliss in a lot of ways. But I think that there's so many of us that get to the 40s and the 50s and the 60s, and something really big happens along the way, or a series of really big things happen, and it shakes our roots. And so we forget who we are. And just because we used to be a way doesn't mean that we're not still that way, you know, in all the terms of the best things. So that was great.
100%.
I think you hit on what I needed to hear today, and I really appreciate it. My other little side question would be, and this was kind of the big dream, is I also feel an interior call to do something in Indonesia. I ended up there accidentally this time last year, and the people were so incredible. And I just keep thinking there's some connection with doTERRA, and this little great hotel where I just fell in love with all the people. It's just like kind of like this small little place around all these like mega ultra exclusive resorts. And they're just really good people trying to hang on. And they've got this kind of South African oligarch who like is the rental owner, because only Balinese people can own land, but now people are coming in and doing these big long-term rentals of like 35 years and then just raising the rainforest and building cement things and taking away from the villages and etc. And this South African guy, it was just almost felt like a evil villain monologue. Because I was white, he kind of assumed a lot about me and just told me his plan for like stealing this hotel away from these people and getting rid of all of them. And this is the way to really make money with this location. And I'm like, these people are my favorite family here in Bali, and they are amazing, and you want to undercut them and steal their livelihood. And they are so patient and so good and have nothing, and you want to take it away from them.
Well, Indonesia has some great things coming. doTERRA has started the process of opening up in Indonesia.
Okay, that was my question. Yay!
Yep. We've got some teams who are mostly in Australia that are planting seeds over there and getting teams going, and it's going great. So beautiful people, huge hearts. So we're really excited to help create an amazing market for doTERRA there. So
okay, great. Well, that was part of my dream, was to turn their hotel into like a wellness resort, instead of where they take scraps from terrible tourists that treat them awful and everything else. So that was what I wanted to know. Tana didn't know if Indonesia was started or not. So that was kind of the piece that I wanted, the little seed to kind of help plant that dream. So good to know it's in process. Yay.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Jessica. It's so great to see you again. And we are cheering for you. We hold space for you and your big vision, and we'll continue to do so.
Thank you very much. I think you did a huge bit of nourishing for me today. It'll be enough. Thank you so much.
God bless.
Have a great day.
So I love this conversation. We had another question coming in the Q&A box. If we can talk about this, can we pick this up next week? I love this. It says, the question is, how do you let go of scarcity, right? And where it feels like too many people are living out your dream, or other dreams feel like a threat to yours or others and things. Let's pick that up next week. But one of the things next week, you're going to get me solo. And
I wish I could be there for that conversation. Dang.
Listen, we'll record it.
But
if you'd like,
that topic.
Hey, if you like, we're going to talk about, let's start with here, right? If you haven't ordered a copy of this, you do not have to, but I'm just going to tell you, and whoever asked that question, right? The wealth money can't buy. I would just say this is an anti-scarcity book, or a scarcity healer already, from what I've read, of helping us see just how much wealth, again, surrounds you. But I'm going to invite you guys, as you're thinking about, we've talked a lot about dreaming, the possibility of dreaming, allowing yourself to take some time today in the next few days to really think about, what you want to create in December and into 2025, and reflection, as well as nourish those habits that help ground you, that bring you home to yourself. That's always going to be wise counsel, is to do the things that are nourishing of yourself, your home, your family, your health, your purpose, your spirit, your business. Such a joy to be back with you guys. Welcome to December, and I will see you guys next Wednesday. Andy, have a great time in Arizona. We can't wait to hear what you learn at the presidential retreat. How fun that will be.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for covering next week, friend. It's a gift to be here in this space and to hold this space for everyone.
Absolutely. Have a great week, everyone.